Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Games and Names. Our sport for this episode is the sport of kickboxing, and we have two featured star guests, Captain Abdurrahman Hawash, national team player, and Captain May Shihab, who is a coach for Egypt's female kickboxing team. So let's get to know more about kickboxing here in Egypt and about Captains Abdurrahman Hawash and May Shihab in the upcoming minutes of Games and Names. Kickboxing is a descriptive term for martial arts that, while similar to boxing, use the feet just like the hands to hit. Kickboxing can be practiced for general health or as the fight sport. The World Kickboxing represents a set of disciplines or sports of combat that use the feet and the fists. Especially kickboxing is one of the disciplines of boxe pied-point, which was developed at first by Japanese and afterwards by North Americans. There are different kinds of kickboxing. Most popular is one where kicks are allowed towards head and torso only. In the middle of the years, the 1960s, the Japanese Kurosaki, who trained in Kyokushinkai karate, traveled to Thailand discovering Thai boxing. In his returning to Japan, he decided to combine his techniques of karate with that of Thai boxing, removing elbow strikes. The Americans also removed knee strikes later, so a new sport called kickboxing was born. Among the non-Japanese that gained more successes, a special consideration should be given to Frenchman Christian Guillaume, who in '69 gained 4 victories and 2 draws, and American Benny the Jet Urquidez, who in '77 defeated Tatsuyuki Suzuki in 4 rounds. In '73, Urquidez and Howard Hansen created the WKA, or the World Karate Association, changing gears after the KD Karate for that of kickboxing. The more known champions are Rob Kamen, Benny Urquidez, Dennis Alexio, Ernesto Hughes, and Marek Petoworski. Punches and kicks are permitted for above the waist. Sweepings and the low kicks are also permitted. The amateur combats take place in 3 rounds, and the professional ones last up to 5 rounds, and 10 in championships of Europe and 12 in world championships, with a 1-minute halftime break between rounds. The kicks to the thigh or low kick usually decide about the difference in the combat. Pants, long or short, boxing gloves, and protectors for the teeth and the genitals. In the female combats, women should also wear protector or chests and boots.
كابتن عبد الرحمن حواش لاعب منتخب مصر كيك بوكسينج.
My name is Abdurrahman Hawash. I'm a member of Egypt's national kickboxing team. I am the national champion in my weight category for the last 3 years. I won the national championship 2 times in the youth age categories and once in the seniors. I'm also the Mediterranean champion and the champion of the Evolution tournament that was organized here in Egypt. My goal is to win a medal at the World Championships, and I will achieve this, God willing, very soon. Now, the thing started with me by admiring the sport. At the beginning, it was a hobby, but I was able to achieve medals in the very first tournament I participated in, and 2 months later I played in the national championship and I won gold, and then went to the national team training camp for qualifiers there, and since then I've been an essential player for Egypt's national kickboxing team. Now, I train here at the Hike Step Training Center. I've also exercised in the Olympic Center in Al Maadi in Cairo. In kickboxing, all strikes and punches are allowed except for those hitting your opponent behind the head or under the belt or in the throat. When you do that, you first get a verbal warning from the umpire or the referee or the judge, and then you get a warning that costs you a point, then another one that costs you 3 points, and you may get expelled and lose the match if you repeat your unacceptable strikes and punches behind the head or under the belt or in the throat of your opponent. Our sport is practiced in 3 rounds of 3 minutes each. It needs great fitness and great physical preparation and a lot of endurance. I mean, when you wear the mouth guard, sometimes it's hard to breathe and you only breathe through your nose. So you have to be very fit and physically prepared. And in regular days, we focus on fitness and on physical preparation. And then before tournaments, we play a lot of matches. We have a big number of players here in Egypt that have achieved internationally, and one of our most successful stars in kickboxing here in Egypt is Captain Abdullah Mando. He's an Olympic champion. He has participated in the World Games before and won there. He's also the Arab and African champion, and he recently won the friendly tournament organized by Egypt that featured Azerbaijan and other countries that have a share of success in the sport. Along with Captain Abdullah Mando, there is also captains George Emil, George Amgad, and Mahmoud Gamal al-Nisr, and a big number of players who continue to achieve in the sport internationally. Globally, we have Badr Ari from Morocco. He's a great superstar. And we also have Ernest Hoos from Holland and Sami Schelt also from the Netherlands. These are some of the big names globally. Now, to be a member of the national team, you first have to win the national championship and then go to the national team qualifiers and beat your opponents there. You also have to excel in more than one style in the sport of kickboxing, because we have a number of different styles in the sport, and you have to come first regularly in your weight category. There is not such a big difference between kickboxing for men and women, or males and females, or boys and girls, except of course for the fact that boys or men have more power and more endurance than girls. But we really have talented girls here in Egypt. Fitness and physical preparation are key in our sport. And we usually get athletes ready first by getting them physically prepared and also mentally prepared. And they usually participate in friendly tournaments or in the Egyptian Cup or the Egypt Open before they go on to more important local championships like the zone or provincial championships, or the biggest of them all, the national championship, the one that enables players to represent Egypt's national team. Globally, of course, there is the World Games, the World Cup, the Mediterranean Cup, and regionally, the Arab and African Cups are highlights in the sport. Now, to be successful in kickboxing, you first of all have to love the sport. You have to be dedicated, and really, I want to ask for more sponsorship from the state in regards to kickboxing and other individual sports. We see a lot of sponsorship for soccer or football, for instance, and I think if we get that same care and attention, we will have a broader and bigger base and more athletes that will be able to win medals for Egypt.
أنا كابتن مي شهاب مدربة كيك بوكس من الاتحاد المصري للكيك بوكس.
My name is May Shihab. I work as a coach for the Egyptian Federation of Kickboxing. I've coached the national team before. I started playing the sport as a 14-year-old girl. I had first practiced Kung Fu before I fell in love with kickboxing, and I was able to achieve medals very quickly, as I was the national champion in 2014, the provincial or governorate champion in 2015, and also the Delta champion in 2019. Now, as a coach, I've had the honor of coaching in the important competitions organized by the Federation of Kickboxing here in Egypt, the club national championship, the zone or provincial national championship, the Egypt Open, and the Egypt Cup. As far as the rules of our sport go, they are very simple. You have all types of strikes and punches, with your hands or legs are allowed, except for those that hit your opponent behind the head, under the belt, or in the throat. We have 7 styles in kickboxing. We practice for 3 days per week in regular days. But of course, before tournaments, we have training camps and a concentrated dose of exercises that might be every day. And we work on physical preparation and fitness and mental preparation for the players. And also, of course, we work on enhancing the skill and technique of our athletes before winding down to get a relaxed preparation for the official tournaments. Our regular routine features stretches, running, strength exercises, speed exercises, and endurance exercises. We have a number of distinct girls in the sport of kickboxing here in Egypt, most prominently captains Rawda and May Abdel Alim. And they have achieved a lot in the national club championships and also in the provincial championships and in the all-important national championship, because this is where you have to achieve to join the national team qualifiers, and the winners of the qualifiers within the national team training camp are the ones who get the honors of representing the country in regional and international championships. Now, we have suffered for years here in Egypt from a social barrier that that didn't look very positively at girls who practiced a sport such as kickboxing, but we've gotten over that now, and we are really taking big strides here in Egypt, and the base is broadening, and we are seeing more and more girls joining the sport of kickboxing and excelling in the sport of kickboxing.
اللاعب المثالي هي بتبقى
The ideal player is the speedy player, and by speed I mean speed in execution, and of course the player that has a lot of endurance. Our competitors in the Arab region are Jordan and Morocco, while globally I think that the best come from Belgium, Turkey, and Japan. The most important tournaments that we have organized here in Egypt for girls include the World Club Championship that was held here recently. And such tournaments encourage the spread of the game here in Egypt and the broadening of the base of the sport. My goals and my dreams for the sport are for kickboxing to be the #1 sport here in Egypt, hopefully, and also the #1 sport globally, and to see more successes for the Egyptian Federation for kickboxing, and to broaden the base and expand the base of the participation of girls in kickboxing here in Egypt. And we really do have a number of distinct players, and a very talented young generations are upcoming. And we're going to be hosting the African Championship soon, and I expect that we will be achieving a lot of medals there.